This is the Brave New Coin Crypto Conversation, hosted by Andy Pickering.
Hi everyone, Andy Pickering here. I'm your host and welcome to the Crypto Conversation, a Brave New Coin podcast where we talk to the people building the future in the Bitcoin, blockchain and cryptocurrency space. 5 years ago, deep in a bear market, a group of traditional finance experts founded BitGet, and they've been building ever since. Now, with 20 million users worldwide, BitGet is committed to helping users trade smarter by providing a secure one-stop crypto investment solution with copy trading, future trading, and spot trading. Your security is their priority, and BitGet has one of the largest protection funds in the industry, with US $300 million to cover potential trader losses from unforeseen events that are not due to misconduct from the user or platform. BitGet wants to inspire everyone to embrace Web3, so if you're new to crypto, learn more at the BitGet Academy with free blockchain courses, crypto guides, cryptocurrency trading strategies, and more. Or for the experienced investor, trade smarter with daily access to institutional-grade crypto market intelligence and trends analysis with BitGet Research. I've put links to BitGet Research and the BitGet Academy in the show notes, so get amongst it or simply go to bitget.com. Thank you to BitGet, and now it is on with the show. My guest today is Shei. Chris is the CEO at OneSafe, a global crypto banking for Web3 startups. We'll learn all about this today. Welcome to the show, Chris.
Hey, Andy. It's great to be here.
Great to have you here, Chris. Let's do what we do at the beginning of the show. Be great if you could please share some of your personal and professional backstory, I guess what you've been doing in the lead up to getting involved with OneSafe. Yeah, you're an interesting one. So yeah, please give us some background.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, I think early on got into the Web3 space how most people actually do. This was in 2013. I was in college and I was trying to buy my fake ID off of Silk Road. Ended up, I think Bitcoin was maybe about $20 a Bitcoin at the time. And got my fake ID. And I think my first foray into Bitcoin was the FBI seizing about half my Bitcoin when they took down the Silk Road website. So stayed in the market, kind of kept on with it, just like saw the Ethereum ICO. And I think it was about 2018, 2019 that I joined a company called Near Protocol. They've since ICO'd, they're quite large now. And I helped them with kind of product and growth stuff. But 2021 or so was when I decided to kind of take the dive in to become a Web3 founder myself, just kind of looking at different problems in the space and trying to solve them, and found the problem that we're trying to solve today, which is really just banking for Web3 companies, is really complex, right? Like getting a bank account, not getting debanked, and then having to get an exchange on top of that and sending money from your bank to your exchange. It's just a really big operational headache. And we thought, what if we could streamline the whole process and make it really super easy for businesses? Started the company, and I think it was, we incorporated 2021, but we launched it earlier this year. And it's just kind of been continuing to grow this and focus on this since.
Yeah, well, thank you for clarifying that, because I think I introduced you as the CEO. I'm sure you are the CEO, but I guess you're the founder as well. So because I guess the parent company, if you like, that you founded is Thresholds. Is that kind of how the structure works?
Yeah. So OneSafe is the DBA. Thresholds was just this random name that I came up with because it had the word hold in it, and thresholds with the Z.com was available. But yeah, the company name is OneSafe.
Yeah, got it. All right. So let's dig into OneSafe a little bit then. So I guess, you said it yourself, kind of banking for crypto startups is a little bit tricky. So maybe just to set the context a little bit further, be useful to understand why that is. Obviously, I think, we kind of have an idea of why that is, but I'm sure you have some, slightly more nuanced perspectives.
This is an interesting one because one of the reasons why I wanted to spin this up was I was debanked by both JPMorgan and Citibank. And it's just, I think sometimes maybe I have two viewpoints on this, right? But sometimes the banks are very uncomfortable with Web3, crypto, cryptocurrencies and things like that. I think when I was sending funds to like my Gemini account or so, that's what flagged me, and then they shut me down. There's two ways that can come about it. Is one is like the general reasoning behind a lot of people, what they think, right? The general branding behind cryptocurrencies didn't really start off very well, right? There was the whole Silk Road thing, and then there was that one company with the WikiLeaks that was accepting crypto Bitcoin, and so I think there's the branding around it originally was this way to like go against the government, go against, even though the broader of going against inflation and things like that was the key. A lot of these banks, I think, felt uncomfortable with cryptocurrencies and the companies that were dealing with cryptocurrencies. And so I think that is one of the main reasons that a lot of banks are uncomfortable with it and don't prefer to bank Web3 companies and crypto companies, even though a lot of these companies are very legitimate. They've raised fundraising from, well-known investors that are legal abiding citizens, but it just seems that sometimes if you don't know about it, you're just a little bit more scared.
Yeah, well, that certainly is very true. So if that's the case, then, you say on your website, and the website, folks, is simply onesafe.io. Link will be in the show notes, but onesafe.io. You say that OneSafe is a financial technology company, not a bank. Just explain why, you want to kind of make that clear.
Yeah, so I mean, we're really riding the neo-banking kind of train, right? So we ourselves are not a bank, but we're a crypto-friendly neo-bank. What we do is we partner with crypto-friendly banks around the US that we kind of explain to them kind of the businesses that we work with, and we have an agreement with them. And so currently we're working with Cross River Bank as one of our banking partners here to support the ability to kind of spin up bank accounts, right? So I think the distinction is important because we ourselves are not a bank. We partner with banks to provide the banking services, and these partner banks are what underlies everything. And we specifically find banks that are a bit more crypto friendly, they're a bit more crypto understanding, and then we try to build redundancy around it. So we try to find a couple of different bank accounts so that if ever something happens, we can kind of shift all the funds from one bank to another if one bank decides one day that they don't want to offer banking for Web3 companies anymore.
Got it. And just to be clear, Chris, when we talk about Web3 companies, because you mentioned that you're working with US banks, are you looking to work with, US-based Web3 companies only, or is it wider than that or not?
Absolutely. And that's a great question. And one of our really defining characteristics, I would say, we're available for businesses worldwide. So
Wow.
if you're based in Saudi Arabia, Singapore, Europe, Dubai, Cayman Islands. We actually have a lot of businesses in Cayman Islands that come to us because they're like a Dow Foundation or whatever. And then we allow them to easily spin up a US-based FDIC insured bank account with some of our banking partners. And that's really a big pull for a lot of these businesses globally. They come to us, they're able to open up this US bank account, and then able to transact as if they had exactly transact as a U.S. bank with their U.S. bank account. What we're doing as well is we understand that a lot of these Web3 companies are global. We're adding a Euro bank account. We're adding a Singaporean dollar native bank account. So you're kind of marrying all of these different global bank accounts into one platform to really streamline and make your financial operations really seamless.
And so the big idea, or it's a very simple idea, but I guess the simple idea is that if you are a Web3 startup, as you've said, kind of anywhere in the world, but you've got the problem of your kind of existing in the crypto ecosystem, but you need both, right? So you need the crypto native financial rails to do all your Web3 crypto native stuff. But of course, you need access to the legacy traditional fiat economy as well, just to be able to go kind of back and forward. And you're providing the service that enables startups to access that traditional finance, right?
That's exactly it. I mean, everybody always talks about bridging Web 2 and Web 3, right? Like you always hear like, I think like maybe 60, 70% of startups are like, oh yeah, we're like the fintech Web 3 startups at least are like, oh yeah, we're the bridge between Web 2 and Web 3. We like to think about it, I mean, basically the same way where every business that's in this space right now, it's really hard to be fully native Web 3, right? It's really hard to pay all of your bills in crypto. And so a lot of businesses are kind of finding that straddle to support both the layer the fintech traditional fintech layer, but also the crypto layer. So we'll have businesses that get investments in crypto but need to pay for things in the real world. But if they're global businesses, right? Maybe they have a contract in Malaysia or a contractor in Europe and they need to pay in euros or Malaysian dollar ringgit, right? So we try to really be able to cover all of those use cases and have one place where they can do everything.
Yep, got it. Talk to us then about I guess the current climate in terms of the relationships you have with existing banks, because particularly in the US, it seems like on crypto Twitter at the moment, you read about I guess the crusade by Elizabeth Warren that seems pretty much anti-crypto. Gary Gensler and the SEC, as much as it looks like they're going to approve some Bitcoin ETFs finally in January. Apart from that, they've been, pretty dark on crypto. And that makes it harder for banks because they think, we can't really touch too much crypto stuff because obviously the current political hierarchy are against it. So they're disincentivized to get involved, even when potentially, someone like Brian at Coinbase, has always made the case for why it's in the US's best interests to have a strong relationship between, the current financial legacy system and, technology innovation, which doesn't matter whether it's, from AI or healthcare or crypto. It's in the best interests of the US to keep innovation at the forefront.
Yeah, that's a really great point. And you hear a lot of the difficulty in the US around regulatory clarity. I think that's the biggest issue. It's like if you were just clear about the rules, then we could know what rules to follow. But if you tell us we're breaking rules, but you don't tell us what those rules are, then where's the guidance? I think that's one of the biggest issues. And a lot of it does play around about, which cryptocurrencies are a security, which cryptocurrencies are not, whether or not it's something that they have to straight up outlaw and ban, right? If it's good for, if it's just something that only, the lawbreakers use, or all of that stuff does run into the same issues. And for banks, they already have a very, very kind of like, I don't know, they already have like a money-making business, right? They don't need to necessarily dabble in some of these other emerging technologies unless somebody else does it first, and then they can just kind of follow. So you really need to find the businesses who are kind of trying to be those trailblazers, who are willing to take a little bit more risk, potentially be able to make a bit more money. The way we manage it right now is somewhat interesting. If you think about it, what businesses do today is they open up a Coinbase and then they open up a bank account, right? And they kind of manage these two separately, two different platforms. They log into one, they log into the other, and they send the money back and forth. What we try to do is we try to bring both of those together in one platform, and through the ability to manage everything kind of on basically one ledger, right? We can see that the money's on its way. We can see that it's going to settle. We can see that the bank account has the funds. We're able to decrease those settlement times a little bit. Obviously, you still have to find banks that are friendly with this and that are willing to kind of manage this. But that's kind of how that's kind of how we maintain a little bit more. I would say like, how would I say this? We take a step back from all of that regulatory back and forth, right? Like we're not ourselves a bank. We're not ourselves an exchange. We just link the existing players and their compliance systems, right? But we just try to speed everything along and bring it all together in one place that you can see everything. So I think that's really kind of the way we're trying to manage this very difficult, I guess, the dance that a lot of these crypto Web3 companies have with the regulators right now, where we're maintaining a stance as, hey, we're a fintech company. These are players that are already in the space. We're just trying to smoothing that out, making it faster. And that's why a lot of businesses ask us, like, why are you in the US? You should be in Europe or whatever. But that's kind of how we're trying to, that's our stance and how we're trying to manage this whirlwind of regulatory scrutiny, maybe.
Yeah, got it. Thank you, Chris. It'd be useful then to understand, I suppose, where you guys are. Where is OneSafe on your, I don't know, product roadmap rollout?
Journey, yeah.
Because I did see that, you had an open beta that was very successful, I think. So you kind of had to slow it down just to make sure everyone gets the love that they deserve, I guess. But look, you can explain it better than I can. So yeah, tell us where you are on that journey.
Absolutely. So we launched this earlier this year for the businesses on our wait list. It was successful. They really enjoyed it. And so we're like, okay, cool. We feel comfortable. Let's open the beta from the closed beta to an open beta. And I think within like 3 months or so, we like tripled the number of businesses on the platform. I think now I think last month we might have done about 30 million in transaction volume or something like that. And so obviously when you're still an early company and you're still small, it does put a lot of strain on the system. We actually roll up Telegram group chats for every single business on our platform. And they have a direct line to the founders so they can message us if there's feature requests, any bugs that they run into, because I feel like that feedback loop is very important when you're early stage. And so exactly as you had said, just to maintain a really good experience for all of our users, we never want to be, I mean, people always talk about, companies growing really fast. We didn't want to be one that grew too fast and then actually resulted in a poor experience. We wanted to really be able to control the rate of speed that we were growing. And so we decided to bring it back to closed beta. Businesses around the world can still sign up. Instead of a 1 to 2 business day turnaround to get your account, we're doing batch, so it's about 1 to 2 weeks. But this will really allow us to focus on some, I think game-changing features, multi-currencies and corporate cards. Corporate cards is something that a lot of businesses have been asking for. So we're kind of like allowing ourselves the space to breathe and really focus on these things so that when we do launch, we can move, even 10 times faster. I think one of the spaces I'm really excited about actually is the real world asset space. And that's one of the places that we're really looking to partner with more businesses, real world assets companies being, businesses that maybe they have a house, but they sell it on the blockchain or tokenize it on the blockchain. Businesses like Maple Finance that do like real world loans, but then source those funds on the blockchain or something like that. I think that's a really exciting space because there are some of the companies that really need kind of what we're building, which is that bridge between the fintech, traditional fintech layer and that Web3 layer.
Yeah, very interesting, Chris. And it feels to me like perhaps, that kind of tokenization of real world assets, it's going to start to happen this cycle. I guess, we really are just at the beginning of the next cycle. You and I were talking just before we hit record, looking at, today as we record here in New Zealand, I guess I'm a day ahead of most people, but Tuesday, 12th of December. And we've just had a pretty significant Bitcoin crash. Admittedly, after, I think it was 7 consecutive green up weeks. So you and I were kind of laughing that, the crash was probably overdue and it's healthy for the longer term bull cycle. But I guess what I'm getting at, Chris, is in this next cycle, if we do get this kind of next big macro crypto bull cycle triggered by the Bitcoin ETFs, Bitcoin halving, et cetera, and it brings in, the next big wave of adoption and users, that is going to be really fertile ground for, the real world asset tokenization, because there'll just be so much more liquidity, players in the system, new startups, and it just kind of leads to that virtuous cycle of just more stuff happening, right?
I think so. I think every single cycle we've had always unlocks something new. Always unlocks, like we had the big DeFi summer where all of a sudden we were able to see a lot more liquidity providers. We were able to see a lot more kind of potential financial derivatives and things like that. And each cycle allows more things to be unlocked, right? And so now we had the whole NFT thing from I guess a few years ago, and even though perhaps artwork is for sure one of the solutions that people can have, NFTs actually has a lot more use case than just digital JPEGs. And I feel like every single time we're able to unlock a little fraction of what's possible with Web3, because really this is right, we're just unlocking additional use cases, additional possibilities. We're able to see more innovation built on top of all of the innovations we've seen in the past. And I think that's one of the big things that we're finally getting to that stage where things are starting to become tangible. And that's what I'm really excited about. That's why I'm really excited about this next bull cycle, because everybody was always talking about, oh, what is Bitcoin? Like, but I don't have that money in my wallet. Or then you're talking about, like, oh, this digital JPEG, let me just screenshot that. But now if you're able to say, hey, look, like this token actually equals this house, right? Instead of me showing you a deed to a house, which is basically whatever the paper representation of a house, I'm able to show you something online, right? That's starting. And now I would say like it's easier to get more of the larger population excited about it. And realistically, they don't even need to know specifically how the technicalities work, right? Abstraction is, I think, one of the biggest ways to get adoption. And I'm not talking about account abstraction or anything like that. I mean, actual just abstraction of complexities, right? Is a way for people to start adopting things. And I really do believe, right, real world assets will be one of the big triggers and will be something to really look at during this next bull cycle.
Yes, indeed. Very well said, Chris. All right. Well, look, as we start to finish up just this part of the podcast, just again, I guess make the case for why people should look at OneSafe. If is there like a waiting list that people can sign up for? Who are the kind of the best? What's the best fit? What are the kind of startups or Web3 startups that are best suited to the OneSafe solution? And what should people do? Where should they go?
Absolutely. So again, OneSafe is a global neobank for crypto-friendly businesses. What we offer is a bank account layered on top of it, a crypto exchange for 24/7 crypto on-off ramp, one-to-one USD to USDC. There's no fees to set up an account. It's free to set up. We even cover gas costs. So if you send $10 USDC, you'll get $10 USDC there. So the best businesses to use this are definitely businesses that transact a lot on both the traditional business side where they need to send a wire, receive a wire. They do a lot on the crypto side where they have to send crypto and receive crypto. And they also have to do a lot of on and off ramping. We streamline that whole process. We'll save you time. We'll save you money across the board. We are on a wait list again. You can use the referral code BraveNewCoin and we'll expedite your application. And we'd be very excited. I think international businesses a lot of times use us to be able to spin up a bank account really quickly and be able to do the on-off ramps. We mainly do stable coins, although we support Ethereum, Solana, Polygon, Avalanche, and those networks. But I would say those are the businesses that would be able to use us the best.
Awesome. So link in the show notes, folks. But yeah, onesafe.io. Chris, I saw in your bio, are you a TikToker? It says in your bio that your crypto content has like 500,000 views on TikTok.
Yes, so this is a funny one. I over quarantine had nothing to do. And so I decided, you know what, let me just try to get TikTok famous. My personal TikTok has, I think, about 250,000 followers. And I don't know, like my best performing has like 7-8 million views on some of my TikToks. And then I was like, okay, and then when I started the company was really when I decided to focus a little bit more of my time and content creation efforts around Web3 things and crypto things. And I wanted to be able to provide that knowledge and share that knowledge. And that's why I started that crypto TikTok, Satoshei, SATOSHEI, as my way to kind of like give back to the community and kind of explain some of these Web3 concepts. Haven't posted on that recently, but I think I might bring it back.
Yeah, fascinating. TikTok's an interesting one because obviously it's so, I mean, I'm not on it myself, but I guess it's obviously been an incredibly successful and popular app around the world. Like seems to be a little bit of a movement perhaps to try and ban it in the US as well, though, doesn't there?
Yes. They're banning everything in the US, Bitcoin, TikTok.
That's right. It's like, what happened to, free speech? Where's the free speech?
Exactly. Exactly. No, I think TikTok is one of those interesting ones, especially with the newer generation. They do a lot better with video than with reading. People say shorter attention spans, but I think it's just more stimulating, right? It's more interesting. They're able to get more information across off of a video, and people are more comfortable seeing videos. And I think that's why, TikTok has taken off in the way it has.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. All right. Well, I reckon we go to a very quick break and then we'll come back. We'll have some fun. We'll run Chris through the very famous Crypto Conversation hot take round. Back in one moment.
All done.
You mean the toast?
Something tastier. I've just copied an elite trader on BitGet. One click and it's done.
What do you mean?
Well, I don't have to sit here manually spying on the moves of smart money and crypto and copying them. I just have to click once, sit back, and BitGet does the rest.
You are so lazy.
It's about working smarter, not harder. Copy it until you make it.
Hands off, gains up. Start copy trading on BitGet.
All right, we are back and I'm with Chris Shei. Chris, of course, is the CEO and founder of OneSafe, global crypto banking for Web3 startups. And yeah, Chris is also an undercover crypto TikTok influencer, as we've heard. But Chris, I like to finish each podcast with a quick round of rapid fire crypto conversation hot takes. Are you up for it?
Let's do it.
Let's do it, Chris. Just going to run some questions at you. Give us your honest answers. Hot take style, I guess. Question one for you. Where would you say that you sit on the Bitcoin maximalist to multi-chain opportunist spectrum?
That's a good one. I'm definitely leaning towards the multi-chain. I don't believe in one winner takes all. My hot take on this would be that Bitcoin just becomes a layer 2 on Ethereum, that all Bitcoin just gets bridged over to Ethereum. But that's my hot take.
That is a hot take indeed. I like it. All right. What would you say then is your firmest conviction crypto opinion, Chris?
I really do believe that in the future, everything will just be a wrapper around crypto and Web3. Banks will just be a wrapper around wallets, right? Like everything, whenever you're sending money internationally, that will go on crypto rails. What is now a fintech, Web2 business is going to be built on Web3. I really do believe that ultimately everything around finances will happen around crypto rails.
Yep, makes sense to me. I mean, you kind of already answered it there, but Bill Gates famously said we tend to overestimate what we can accomplish in 2 years and underestimate what we can accomplish in 10, right? So 10 years, long time in crypto, long time in blockchain, but 10 years time, anything you like, OneSafe or Web3, what does it look like?
So this is something interesting. And this is the reason why we're moving to bank accounts first is the checking account is really that gateway right now to any fintech that you want to do. Any like if you want to send funds to, I don't know, to another, like people have heard of Plaid, right? That links your checking account. If you want to send funds to maybe like a Robinhood or like your brokerage that's sent from your checking account. If you have Venmo or I don't know what the equivalent is in New Zealand or Australia, but like a peer-to-peer payment, you link your bank account or whatever, right? I really do believe that what we consider bank accounts today will become the gateway for Web3 services and Web3 smart contracts. So I think like there needs to be that bridge between the checking account to the wallet. But I think ultimately all wallets will just become like this bank account checking account, or it might happen on the bank account checking account first, where like in the future, JPMorgan Chase will start providing a way for you to integrate or connect to different smart contracts from your JPMorgan checking account. I mean, if they want to survive, this is my hot take, and 10 years is a hard, I'm not too much of a clairvoyant, but I really do believe if banks want to innovate and want to be able to capitalize on this Web3 innovation, they're going to have to start making changes to their bank accounts to allow these accounts to connect directly into smart contracts.
Yes, indeed. All right. Well, another way of thinking about this, of course, is a quote by William Gibson, who said that the future is already here. It's just not evenly distributed. With that in mind, Chris, can you think of an example of the future being here right now, but most people aren't aware of it?
Let me bring it back, I guess, maybe into the real world asset use case where you could tokenize your house, get rent payments, and then spread that around to like multiple investors all on the blockchain. I think that's an interesting one. Another really interesting one is actually you can create an entity on chain, and you can receive investments on chain and then distribute those to academic researchers. That's another really interesting use case that we're talking right now with Molecule and Autonomous. Molecule helps academic researchers raise funds on chain. You spin up an autonomous entity for that, and then you use OneSafe to off-ramp your investment funds into your bank account, and then you can start doing really interesting research and have investors around that. So I think that's another use case I would say of how the future is here, but it's just not evenly distributed.
I like it. Very well said. All right, well, time to start to finish off. Chris, the final question is, what is your favorite science fiction book, film, or TV show?
That's a good one. I might have to go for the classic Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I think that's an interesting one, and I like it because it helps you really think about the world a little bit differently. I think that was one of the reasons why I had liked it. It gives you a couple of interesting thought experiments of how the world might be different if different things happen, right? The whole, what is the answer to the universe, or what is the question, right? And the math doesn't even work out. Things like that. That was really what drew me to it.
Yeah, of course. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, classic, I guess, comedy sci-fi from Douglas Adams, and famously, I just actually read Elon Musk's autobiography by Walter Isaacson, and you learn that Elon, or one of Elon's favorite books, is indeed The Hitchhiker's Guide, and famously, you might have seen, Chris, that Grok, the new
yes, that's right.
AI chatbot that has kind of been hooked up to Twitter for premium subscribers. I think Elon said something like, Grok's personality is based on The Hitchhiker's Guide, which I thought was interesting. Well, Chris, it has been fantastic speaking to you today. Thank you so much for coming on the show and spending some time with us. Just to finish off, look, please shout out your Twitter handle, your websites, where people should go to get involved with OneSafe, all that good stuff. Go for gold.
Absolutely. Well, super happy we were able to get the chance to be here. Once again, I'm Chris, CEO of OneSafe. OneSafe is a crypto-friendly bank account for Web3 businesses globally. My handles across the board is Satoshei, SATOSHEI. Feel free to connect with me on Twitter, DM me, and I'll be able to support you. Again, we're on waitlist right now, but if you want to be prioritized, use the code BRAVENEWCOIN. And really appreciate the chance to be here, Andy, and share a little bit about my journey around Web3.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chris. All the best, and bye for now.
Bye-bye.
All right, there you go. That was Chris Shei from OneSafe. Yeah, global crypto banking for Web3 startups. Chris was cool. Very nice guy, very smart guy. Yeah, undercover crypto TikTok influencer, and a great selection there with, of course, the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Really, as I said, it is one of the foundational kind of inspirations for Elon Musk, strange as that may seem, but kind of explains his, I guess, meme-heavy, meme-centric, slightly unusual sense of humor, I suppose. But fascinating. And of course, 42, is it 42? Yeah, pretty sure 42 was the answer to life, the universe, and everything. Interesting times. All right. Well, thank you to Chris. Thank you to OneSafe. And thank you to you, the listeners, for listening here at the end of the show. Brings us to the end of another episode. Thanks, team. This was Crypto Conversation for Brave New Coin.